Over here in Myron, the Team BCW players, Tannen Grace and Brendan DeCandio, picking up a third in Caleb Durward for this event. Don't see Caleb out here too much, though when he's been on the SCG Tour, he finds a lot of success.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time away from his stream, his regular streamer on Twitch.
Caleb starting on a tapped Temple Garden for Brandon. Here we'll start with Serum Visions.
I'm dating myself here, but Caleb probably best known for breaking survival of the fittest in Legacy.
Yeah, that is a thing that he did, and yes, you are dating yourself. Yeah. Second line for Caleb, no plays. Well, it would look like he has no plays, but remember, his deck does have some rattle chains in it, which could be represented here.
Right. 3 copies of Path to Exile in the deck as well, though generally that's not the kind of turn 2 action you're looking for. You do see a Phantasmal Image in the hand. That's not the kind of card you can just play on turn 2.
Brandon, cycle Street Wraith, fetch Shock with Watery Grave. Down to 13.
So by now it's very clear the strategy that Brandon's on.
Yeah, the Street Wraith's kind of a giveaway.
Right.
Go to 11 on another Street Wraith.
Could see a turn 2 Shadow.
Yeah. This is the kind of matchup, though, where just burning away your own life points comes with real cost. Caleb can flash some attackers into play. What I like is, I'm interested in seeing now that Brandon has made the Death Shadow, is the dynamic of, say Caleb has a Rattle Chains. Does he want to flash into play and deal 2? Is that actually a good thing to have happen?
You do want to see what you're able to commit to the battlefield on the following turns. Make sure you're able to make some good chump blocks on this Death Shadow, or maybe you can present a Path to Exile.
Right, every time you deal damage here, you're making his creature grow. Here's Rattle Chains. Now all of Caleb's spirits have flash. Makes Razor Verge Thicket. And he's actually just passing, no attacks on the Rattle Chain, so he does not want to put Brandon any lower just yet.
That makes sense. From 11, it's not terribly difficult to assemble a lethal alpha strike.
No, especially what I like is that he's keeping Brandon guessing. Maybe Brandon attacks, and then Caleb just flashes in Drogskull Captain, untaps, plays another Drogskull Captain, and attacks. We're looking at something lethal.
Right.
Shadow will attack here. Brandon now going to bring himself lower, fetches down to 10.
And this is sort of the nature of the Death Shadow deck, certainly in game 1. Once you've dealt this much damage to yourself and drawing this many Street Wraiths, you kind of have to. All you can do is be aggressive.
Brandon down to 8. So even with the 2 Drogskull Captains, that would only put Brandon down to 1. It's not lethal. And he'll make another Death Shadow after swinging in for 5. Caleb down to 14. And there is actually Spell Queller. Brandon has a third Death Shadow, though.
Can't cast it off Steam Vents. So we have 2 shadows in play. You're right. Yeah, it already was cast. Yep. Yeah, it's the 2 Watery Graves there.
But there's no Fatal Push or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. So you're representing Stubborn Denial, but no real meaningful tricks. Do we have Lightning Bolts? This is something. There's a Dismember in the deck.
Yeah, no Tarfire, Lightning Bolts, anything like that.
Sometimes you see 1 or 2 bolts, but it's not a card people are huge on in the deck.
Caleb just says go. No 4th land either. I mean, you could have always accompanied into 2 Drogskull Captains or something like that, just 1. And here's a swing with a pair of 5/5s. And Caleb's got to watch out. If he doesn't block, Brandon could pump these at instant speed pretty easily.
Right. It's already been through 2 Street Wraiths, but I think he does have the Dismember in hand.
Yeah, and that would do it.
And it's just by casting Dismember.
Yeah, so even if Caleb has the Spell Queller, it's no good. He's going to flash Selfless Spirit into play, thanks to the ability on Rattle Chains. And that's not bad. Now he can use it. And actually, Brandon might respond. With Rattle Chains on the stack, Brandon may have plays. I wonder if he's just going to cast the Dismember. He can't go that low here. If he does, he might... this is really interesting. Well, if his Memorial Cells Dismember, he shouldn't actually care about creatures gaining Indestructible.
Right.
So he's going to Dismember, paying 2 life and 2 mana on the Spell Queller. Brandon goes to 6. The shadows go to 7/7. So now the blocks are there's some forced blocking here. Brandon gets the Death Shadow back. Caleb will have to block both. Sacrifices Selfless Spirit to make Rattle Chains indestructible. He does not take any damage.
Yeah, so cool trick here. You only had to block one, but once you block with the Spirit, it's a free thing to just make the other creature indestructible, save yourself some life.
Sure.
But now Death Shadow back, number 3 for Brandon.
And post-combat Gurmag Angler from Brandon. Just going to make a huge board, setting up for a win next turn with Caleb at 14.
No real way to make Rattle Chains lethal on the turn here, not with 3 mana available.
Yeah, if he had been able to keep his Selfless Spirit alive, then it'd be pretty simple. A Draw-Skull Captain would have done it. But he had to block there because they were all the way up to 7/7s.
Right.
Have made their way online to pairings.starcitygames.com. And are available
4th land for Caleb. He does have Collected Company in hand. Now, Ryan, if he gets a particularly good Collected Company, can he make this work?
your round 4 pairings.
So the only card that adds power to his board would be Draw-Skull Captains, and even hitting 2 of those wouldn't be lethal this turn. He can try to make some blockers. He still has a bit of life here.
Yeah, if he hits Selfless Spirit plus one other card, he could block 3 creatures.
Keep 2 creatures around. That's probably his best line here. Depending on what Dollaway can present here, he still is in quite a bit of trouble.
Sure.
You want a main phase so you don't get Stubborn Denialed, and Caleb does do that.
Rattle Chains and Selfless Spirit for Caleb Durward.
Okay, these are actually pretty good
works.
hits.
And he does it main phase, too.
If Dollaway can deal some more damage to himself.
Yeah, a Teamer Battle Rage will certainly do it.
Yes. Yeah, there's a few ways to make this lethal this turn.
Here's a swing. The way Dollaway did this so quickly, if I'm in Caleb's spot, I should be concerned that I'm about to lose to a Battle Rage.
I mean, Caleb's creatures all fly and they're lethal, so Dollaway is going to make this play.
Oh, Caleb goes to 8. All right, can he get a Draw-Skull Captain? That'll do it. Let's find out. Here's Collected Company, and no Stubborn Denial from Brandon. No Draw-Skull Captain.
That's going to seal this one up.
Caleb just picks up the cards. Well played, Brandon Dollaway. He takes game 1 with Grixis Shadow.
Yeah, Caleb's first Collected Company was good. Wisely main phased it to not get Stubborn Denial, but had no such luxury on the second one.
Yeah, and Brandon punishes him for it. So, first game complete. It goes to Brandon Dollaway on Grixis Shadow. We're going to look at the sideboards when we come back in just a minute. All right, welcome back here to round number 13. We're currently watching the modern match here in our Team Constructed event. The team of Tana Grace, Caleb Durward, and Brennan DeCandio. Caleb lost the first match here. Now they are on 2 losses right now with 3 rounds to play. We figure a win here should make them a near lock for top 8 of the event.
Yes. Yeah, it would be nice to pick it up here. Even if they lose here, they are, of course, still alive. But winning here would put them in a very nice spot.
So let's take a look at some of the sideboards. I want to start with Caleb Durward. 3 Negates, 2 Mirran Crusader, 2 Kasali Pride Mage, 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Stony Silence, an Eidolon of Rhetoric, a Engineer Explosives, a Rock Swarmonk, and a Settle the Wreckage. Now, a lot of these look to be hate cards for combo decks. I don't think any of them come in.
Yeah, they're not great here, but Engineered Explosives is great here. A Mirran Crusader, especially because Dollaway's on 0 Lightning Bolts.
Yeah.
That one's going to be real tough to deal with. You have to hit it with a discard spell, basically.
Right, Colgan's Command can't actually hit it. It's also black.
Right.
How do you feel about Settle the Wreckage?
It's fine. I mean, it's really easy to Stubborn Denial that one. You got to figure Dollaway is sticking on some of those because of Collected Company.
Yeah.
But Settle can still be a big play.
Well, it's the kind of thing where Caleb's going to have 4 mana, say go, and you're like, okay, Collected Company, attack him. He's like, Settle the Wreckage. Just, ooh.
Oh.
I mean, it's not like he even plays basics. That's the
I mean,
point.
yeah, that's really not.
No. You got to get him when you're going to get him with the card. You got to get him.
Yeah, the thing about Settle the Wreckage out of a creature-heavy deck is it means that they're probably killing you on the crackbacker the next turn.
Perhaps drawing opening hands here. Brandon's sideboard, he does have some interaction. The one I'm looking at is the Kozilek's Return here.
Yeah, that one's nice. I'm also looking at Liliana the Last Hope.
Ooh, okay, that's better.
You ever played Selfless Spirit against Liliana the Last Hope?
Yes, they were in the same set.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's... It's uniquely bad against it. It is exactly, it becomes a 0/0.
It is designed, likely deliberately, to lose to that card.
Caleb on the play here. You know, I don't think we've seen, this is the second match we had watching Caleb. He did not win the first one. We haven't really seen a turn 1 Noble Hierarch out of his deck yet.
Yeah, it's not even a spirit, so.
Yeah, but it's probably his best card nonetheless.
On turn 1, yeah.
It's going to lead out Unselfless Spirit. I like that Caleb plays this deck. I am slightly concerned that his cards are weak. your big play is turn 2 Selfless Spirit. It's
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where you see Caleb win a tournament with this deck, and it's more of an endorsement of Caleb than the deck.
So Brendan has boarded in Engineered Explosives as he thought scours himself, milling over 2 Fatal Pushes. Kind of, that's, boo, I bet he would have liked to draw those.
Yeah, you just Snapcaster Mage him. It's that Thought Scour engine.
Inquisition of Kozilek will be the play. Let's get a look at Caleb's hand. We have Cavern of Souls.
Take that, Crusader.
And a fetch land.
Get that out of there.
Yeah, Rattle Chains, Mirren Crusader, and Collected Company. This is actually a very nice curve for Caleb. I assume you have to take Mirren Crusader.
Yeah, you can take it or you can lose to it. Those are your options.
So Rattle Chains and Collected Company, though, that will be the curve for Caleb.
Still good holdings for Durward.
Yeah.
Assuming that he can find something meaningful with the Collected Company.
Cracks Polluted Delta. For Blood Crypt, we'll send him down to 14. Has left in Teamer Battle Rages, and here's going to be Gurmag Angler, able to make it all the way on turn 2.
Thought Scour is the blue dark ritual.
It has to line up perfectly, right? You have to have 2 fetch lands and the Thought Scour and another spell.
Yep. But he did.
Selfless Spirit. It's going to swing on in. Brandon down to 12. Okay. Path to Exile. That was drawn from... Fair enough.
See, that was karma because Dollaway put that behind his lands.
You can't hide behind those.
Yeah.
Get over here.
If you want to be with the lands, all right. You can be with the lands.
Why don't you just become one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does that main phase. Doesn't want to get hit by Stubborn Denial, and he still has Rattle Chains up. Cavern of Souls naming Spirit, of course.
It's a good name.
Terminate. Pick up for Brandon. Now he's down to 12. He can make this Death's Shadow. I don't know. That one's hiding too.
There we go. Yeah, that one doesn't want to get path, so it's going to go where it can go.
And Rattle Chains will get, and in response to Rattle Chains, Terminate is going to go ahead and shoot down the Selfless Spirit.
And you do see that Dollaway did board in his own copy of Engineered Explosives.
Yeah.
Whereas Durward's going to try to put explosives on 1. Dollaway wants to put it at 2, sometimes 3. Can deal with things like that Mirren Crusader sometimes. A bit slow, but it still works, and Geist of Saint Draft.
Collected Company main phase from Caleb. He needs it to hit big for him. See if it can. Mausoleum Wanderer. Is that...
That's
no,
a big
that
hit.
is not...
That's got to be about the best it could have been, right?
Yep.
Oh, it's the opposite.
Adds a 3rd point of power to the board. That's particularly weak here. Caleb's going to have to draw something else to help.
And that's really the danger of these Collected Company decks. I know that looking at 6 cards is a lot of cards, and you think, what can go wrong?
You know what can go wrong. You're just doing it anyway.
Your deck has lands. That's what can go wrong.
I think there was a couple more Collected Companies in that 6.
Sure.
But that's great. That means you're not drawing them either. You don't get to try again.
Nope. Yeah, there's like some cards where you look at a small number of cards and you put them on the bottom. It's like, well, at least I'm not drawing these. Right. Collected Company, you just look at 2 more Collected Companies and then they're at the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, you're like, you want to draw them.
Yeah.
When it's bad, it's really bad. Mm-hmm. Now that Mausoleum Wanderer put some pressure on Brandon's mana. It looks like things aren't lining up exactly how Brandon would want them to. He actually just passes.
This one doesn't have great attacks. Wants his shadow to be a little bit bigger, but Caleb's not going to help him.
Well, Caleb has drawn here, land here. Don't know that card. That one, the one in his hand, the one he just picked up. Luke Strasler over on the Legacy table with Miracles. Miracle's actually one of the more popular choices in Legacy this weekend, and it's really winning every time we're having it.
It was always a tougher go for the Delver decks. And because of the Miracle mechanic, Grixis Delver playing discard spells instead of the old Teamer Delver stifles, the matchup has gotten a little bit better, outside of the fact that obviously Sensei's Divining Top was the best card in the deck.
Ryan, what's going on here in this match? So Brandon, full grip. Caleb was out of gas, but for the last, Brandon passed the turn on 3 mana, played nothing, and then Caleb passed. Brandon did nothing on unstep, untapped, drew, and passed the turn again. He's going 2 turns without casting anything.
Yes, you have kind of a funny setup here with the Death Shadow deck. Dollaway can't deal damage to himself and really wants to, and Caleb won't deal damage to Dollaway because he knows that Dollaway wants to take more damage. Likely that Dollaway just has some interactive spells, maybe like a Stubborn Denial or a Snapcaster Mage that can't convert the Terminate.
Yeah, but it's given Caleb time. He now drew into Spell Queller. And yeah, Caleb might be ahead now. We see Thought Scour from Brandon. He'll target himself. Mill over Serum Visions. Scalding Tarn draws into... Well, we'll see.
He did want to draw Scalding Tarn.
Yeah, he'd love to draw Scalding Tarn. He'd take a 4th land, and especially a way to deal himself damage. Brennan DeCandio in the Grixis Energy Mirror. He takes game 1 over Noah Strasler.
You gotta like DeCandio in a standard mirror.
Yeah, well, knowing DeCandio, it's probably not an exact mirror.
He does have those Rekindling Phoenixes.
Yeah, he's going to have some cards that are weird and might be good for the matchup. A pass from Brandon, and Caleb just end steps Spell Queller. Draws another one. And Gavany Township the play. Okay.
Well, he had a two-turn clock without that. But this makes it so even if one creature is hit by a removal spell, he will still have a 2-turn clock.
What I like is he could actually even have a 1-turn clock. He could just... There's not really a point in attacking, right? He could just say go.
Yeah, could hang out, pump the
Township,
team.
pump the team, swing lethal. That's really exciting. He's going to go for it all, though. Here's 5.
Yeah, it's only 11 if he takes your line right, because the Wanderer is a 1-power creature. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
So he needs a hit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe Caleb has another Spell Queller, but Brandon takes the hit, goes to 7.
Yeah, I do like Caleb's position here.
Interesting. This felt to me like a game that Grixis Shadow was going to win, especially when Caleb's Collected Company missed.
And you just saw that stretch of turns where Dollaway just had a 1/1 Death Shadow, couldn't deal any more damage to himself.
He has 8 cards in hand. How is it that none of these play?
He might have been long on things like Serum Visions and wanted to leave up Stubborn Denial.
So he still has Teamer Battle Rage. It's possible Brandon still wins this turn.
He'll need to have drawn multiple things that damage himself, though, right?
Well, a fetch land would do it, right? It'd put him to 4. He'd have a 9/9. It'd be an 8. It'd be 18.
He also needs to get this Battle Rage through the Spell Queller.
Yeah, it's not perfect. If he has something like fetch land Dismember, or fetch land Fatal Push, I might just do it.
Yeah. Shockland Dismember puts him exactly to 1.
Okay. Shockland Battle Rage Dismember. It gives enough mana to pay for the Wanderer.
The problem is, if you're casting Dismember and Teamer Battle Rage, you're not forcing the Spell Queller before any of that happens.
So he swings, and Caleb says, fine, I'll take it. I'll take 6, go to 11.
One of the cards Dollaway has been hanging on to and hasn't had a good spot to convert is a Kozilek's Return.
Says go. But he can't convert it. There's a Wanderer in play.
Yeah, he still can't. Yeah, that's why he hasn't been doing anything.
Okay, Caleb, end step's going to Township.
Doesn't even have to.
Brandon has 7 cards in hand. There's got to be something he can do here.
Caleb deliberating, maybe he just wants to cast Spell Queller and
Yeah,
stuff.
just make another flyer. And Brandon, he's forgotten about the Wanderer here. He's actually just dead if he casts his Kozilek's Return.
Yep.
Yeah, Kozilek's Return. Okay, Caleb will counter it. And we're going to game 3. That was strange. And you see a shake of the head on Brandon's side. I feel like there may have been more he could have done there. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he had a non-functional hand.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
The only way he can pay for the Wanderer is if he shocks off that Steam Vents. He doesn't want to do that because that makes it easier for Caleb to assemble lethal. You can't
if
deal
he
with
had
the Spell
push
Quellers.
Battle Rage, he had a line that... Well, no, okay, so you're saying the problem was that then Caleb just takes.
Yes.
Yeah, takes 16, goes to 1.
Yeah, I think Dollaway just had a hand that really
Ugh.
didn't come together.
Well, they're going to be headed to a third game. Also headed to a third game, Noah Strasler. Very quick game 2 win over Brendan DeCandio. So a lot of games with some top 8 contentions on the line. We'll be back with them in just 1 minute. So we're back here as they get ready for game 3.
Caleb Durward taking game 2 there, so Brandon Dollaway going to be on the play here.
We have to have a correction here. Brendan DeCandio and Noah Strasler are actually still playing game 2. We earlier reported that Noah had won game 2. That meant that game has not finished yet.
Yeah, that was pretty quick, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was a mull to 5, the kind of thing where just, Brendan kept the 1-lander and then didn't draw lands.
Like, looks at his hand and said, oh,
Yeah.
that wasn't a red source after all.
Okay, it was one of those. It's like no, it wasn't a mull to 5. It was a 7. I just can't. He just couldn't read his own cards.
I'm not proud.
At a punt like that, playing Team Sealed, I kept a hand where it's like, asked him, "Hey, do you guys really think I should keep this? It's pretty." And then it's like, "Yeah, of course, yes." It's like, all right. And they're like, "Wait." And then let's watch it. And like, wasn't there blue mana in it? It's like, there's a reason I asked you. Like, no, if there's blue mana, this would have been easy.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, well then you should have shipped. It's like, I hate everybody. Well, if Caleb's never had a turn one Noble Hierarch, we're gonna look at a Inquisition of Kozilek. Right now, Caleb does if it's not taken. We have Path to Exile, Noble Hierarch, Engineered Explosives, Spell Queller, Drog Skull Captain. Looks like I'll take Spell Queller. Okay, so
Droxfell Captain.
Drog Skull Captain. Thank you. Leaving Caleb with a chance to make that turn 1 Hierarch. I'd assume Brandon has an answer to it though.
Yeah, this reads a bit like he has Fatal Push.
Or I guess the other thing is if Caleb only has Spell Queller as a payoff card, you could just let him have Noble Hierarch.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to do that.
Hierarch doesn't do a lot on its own, right? You don't see a collected company.
Here is Noble Hierarch off the fetch line. Now Caleb drew Mirren Crusader, so Brandon,
Yikes.
yeah, I'd hope to get rid of that.
Can't Fatal Push that one. Can't terminate that one. Can't dismember that one. Not much to be done.
You can. Oh my goodness. I don't.
He can Kozilek's return it.
Yep. Kozilek's return it. He can Engineered Explosives it.
Though it wouldn't make a lot of sense to take Drogskull Captain over Spell Queller if Dollaway already had access to Kozilek's return,
Yeah.
given the 3rd toughness on the Queller.
Serum Visions draws Terminate for Brandon. Serum Visions and Collective Brutality on top. Looks like he wants another Serum Visions but does not want the removal spell. And yes, he will fatally push down the Noble Hierarch. We go back over to Caleb.
Yeah, the reason that you would bring in Brutality in a matchup like this, it's not so much to answer a creature at sorcery speed, it's because you're hoping to also hit Collected Company out of Caleb's hand.
Here's Cavern of Souls from Caleb Durward.
Once you see in a hand that doesn't have Company yet, you have a narrow window and an improbable window to ever actually get one out of Caleb's hand. So, not a big deal.
I don't know if there's a third land in Caleb's hand. He did name Spirit with Cavern of Souls. He'll make Engineered Explosives on 1 and say go. If he does not draw another land here, his hand is not functional. Brandon, though, no threat yet. Here's Serum Visions. Draw and a pair of Scry. Could get 1 or 2 lands, depending on what he wants here.
If he doesn't have a third land, he'll want to get a red source anyway.
Yep. He does have that Kozilek's Return as well, as he casts Thoughtseize going to 12. So we're going to see Path to Exile, Mirran Crusader, Spell Queller, and another Spell Queller. And now he sees what's up. Caleb really wants that third land.
This is an interesting spot.
Yeah.
You don't want Caleb to know you have the Kozilek's Return, but if you
don't take Mirran Crusader, it's really suspicious.
Well, but the thing is, if you take Mirran Crusader, then you just have 2 Spell Quellers that you can't hit with your return.
Yeah.
So I do like taking the Queller here, but it does inform Caleb that something's up.
Yeah, Caleb should be... You're right. He should be suspicious. No land drop from Brandon, and Caleb does hit. So here's Mirran Crusader. Brandon going to draw, and immediately Kozilek's returns that away. Down to 10 as he had to shock for that. Steam Vents. Did not want to see Spell Queller hit the return. Caleb just passes back. He does have the mana for Spell Queller thanks to that Cavern of Souls. See, it's Fatal Push, Terminate, and 1 blue card in Brandon's hand. It's going to be Spell Queller. Brandon will Fatal Push it. It's Revolted thanks to that fetch land.
And fetch for a tapped Blood Crypt there, which I like because the Engineered Explosives just would cover any Death Shadow.
How about this top deck, though, by Caleb? Geist of St. Traft. And Brandon's all the way down to 9. He still doesn't have a threat yet. I do like this draw a lot here.
Well, it's almost lethal in 1 turn.
Yeah.
1 point shy.
Death's Shadow. It's a 4/4 from Brandon. Passes the turn.
Caleb's hand is just 2 Path to Exiles, and he has the active Explosives.
Explosives gets rid of Death's Shadow. Put that in 1 many turns ago. Now plays Noble Hierarch. It's going to swing,
that's lethal.
Exalt. Exalts to a 3/3, and a 2/2 comes with. Terminate for the Angel. Brandon takes 3, goes to 6.
Yeah, action was forced there. You don't like to terminate a token that's going to go away anyway, but it's worse to take lethal damage.
Well, we're back over to Brandon. Going to be lethal next on that. And the Geist of St. Traft swings for 7. Brandon now is down to 6 after taking 3 off the Spirit. It's going to make Snapcaster Mage. Okay, that could block.
1 shy of being able to Kozilek's Return off of that, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, he has Fatal Push instead. He pushes away the Hierarch.
Can get in front of the Geist, at least it could if Caleb didn't have Path to Exile.
But he knows he has Path.
I mean, he can't not play into it.
Path, that Stubborn Denial is not going to do it. He'll cast it. Caleb's going to pay. And that's the match. Bant Spirits and Caleb Durward, they are your winners.
Yeah. So we're still waiting for a conclusion on the other 2 matchups, but Caleb does take it down. And you saw just Grixis Death Shadow can have a lot of trouble if you have multiple answers to their threats.
All right, so with that game done, we're going to head over to the Grixis Mirror. They're shuffling up for game 3. It's Brennan DeCandio and Noah Strasler, both playing Grixis Energy. Mention here, even though Brennan's archetype's a pretty standard one, it's the most popular on day 2, you know that his list isn't going to be standard. So what are we looking at that are different here?
Yeah, so the big one is that he's playing 4 main deck copies of Rekindling Phoenix. He's playing fewer Scarab Gods and more Glory Bringers.
Do you think that helps him in this matchup?
The Rekindling Phoenix puts a higher tax earlier on Vraska's Contempt, which is reasonable. Obviously, fewer Glory Bringers, or fewer Scarab Gods, you get answers with the Contempt is something, but then the 3 Glory Bringers, they do enough damage, they put enough pressure on the Contempts as well, that you kind of balance that out. It's kind of his angle here.
Some interesting different sideboards. You're going to see Dream Stealers on Brennan's side. He has 3 copies in the sideboard. For Noah's side, he has he has bigger stuff. He has, Angrath, the Flame Chain, that's the Planeswalker. He's got Deadeye Tracker, Search for Azcanta, Hour of Devastation, 3 Negate, 2 Duress. I do see why Noah won the first sideboarded game.
Strasler is also lighter on Scarab God. He is only playing 2 main deck copies. You do see a lot of builds with 4.
Yeah. I like that he has a main deck Gonti. That should help him in this matchup.
Yeah, if you can get a good hit.
And keep in mind, if Brennan wins this game, that's going to be the end of the round. That'll win it for his team because Caleb has 1 in Modern. Both players keeping on 7, and here we go. This is going to be Glint Sleeve Siphon for Brennan. No removal spell on Noah's side, so 1 energy for Brennan. But Harness Lightning might be able to take care of it, and he's going to do that before Brennan untaps with Negate. Here's Lightning taking down the 2-drop. Noah will pocket 2 energy on the side. Noah also a 4 Glint Sleeve Siphoner deck. And here we see Dream Stealer. This is out of Brennan's sideboard. It's a big one if it can start connecting.
Card that's quite powerful in the matchup. Brennan speaks quite highly of it. And bad news for Strasler, 3rd land here, but it's all blue and red sources. So even if he hits a 4th land, can't cast Vraska's Contempt without drawing 2 black sources here. And Whirler Virtuoso does come down. That can block the Dream Stealer. See if DeCandio can do anything about that.
So the 1/2 with Menace, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they discard that many cards. Fortunately, Whirler Virtuoso is 2 blockers. Maybe. I mean, it does not take much for Brennan to knock one of those out.
Right. Yeah, it has Vraska's Contempt in hand.
All right, so go ahead and shoot that off right at Whirler Virtuoso.
It's an aggressive use of the Contempt, but once you start connecting with Dream Stealer, you do run away with the game.
Is Vraska's Contempt exile? Yes. Exile Whirler Virtuoso.
Here comes the Dream Stealer.
Yeah, it's going to swing in. It has Menace, so it can't be blocked there. It's going to deal 1 to Noah, and he'll have to discard. And that Virtuoso was exiled by Vraska's Contempt.
Strasler did make a top turn response, but that can't get in front.
Right, it's only 1 creature. He needs 2 blockers, so he's going to lose a card. And it's, you know, you might even need to get rid of Vraska's Contempt. He doesn't have a single black source yet. Looks like they're debating between that and Duress. They'll get rid of the Duress. But you're right, Dream Stealer, you said Brennan speaks really highly of in this matchup, and I can see why. It looks great.
And bigger story here, though. Strasler's having some mana woes. Missing a land drop and his 2 black off of casting that Contempt in hand.
He's going to Supreme Will for a land, and that feels really bad. Now, he does find one. It's Aether Hub. Gets a 3rd mana source, a 3rd energy off it. Now he has black mana. But he's going to take at least 1 more hit off the Dream Stealer.
Something that's nice to do with Dream Stealer is if you have ways to give it an additional power, you can make them discard more cards because it checks the total power of the Stealer, though DeCandio doesn't have any way to do that. Outside of eternalizing it, of course.
Swinging by Dream Stealer, Noah will take 1 and discard again. Discards a Negate. And here's a Glimmer of Genius from Brennan. He's going to do it while Noah's low on mana. Also hasn't made the land drop yet. Rekindling Phoenix and a blue card. He ships them both. He wants to draw something else. I think he's looking for the land. In 4 cards, though, he doesn't find any. He finds Scarab God and Whirler Virtuoso, so he just passes.
DeCandio's mana is actually not great either.
No, he has no red.
So Rekindling Phoenix, pretty good against a hand that has not yet presented double black for Contempt, but if you can't cast it, it's a lot worse.
Yeah, Glint Sleeve Siphoner from Noah up to gives him another energy. Well, replaces the one he had to spend to cast it. He has a 2nd black for Vraska's Contempt, but it looks like he's going to take another Dream Stealer hit. So if Brennan's hand can function, he should be fine. Draws Vraska's Contempt. Here's Dream Stealer again. Noah to 17. Discards Contempt. His last card is Gear Hulk. This is a greedier play. He's got to find that 6th land then.
If he finds it, he's in a pretty solid position, though.
Yeah, Siphoner from Brennan. He's going to try again to keep hitting those land drops. Got 5 cards in hand. Dream Stealer has already been a 3 for 1.
A lot of the draws that aren't land are things that could potentially deal with the Dream Stealer.
So land and another, but the land comes enter the battlefield tapped. Or maybe Drowned Catacomb. We'll see in a sec. Essence Scatter was the other pickup.
Drowned Catacomb also enters the battlefield tapped.
Oh no, you're right.
A Basic Mountain, the only land type controlled there.
So he doesn't have the ability to cast Gear Hulk yet. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and pause here.
Yeah, so that Catacomb is going to be entering the battlefield tapped. So Yeah, we're going to stop that.
Oh, okay. No, it is untapped.
Oh, that's a Canyon Slew
It's a Canyon
there.
Slew? Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, we're all good.
Yeah, I thought that was a Dragon Skull Summit. That's different.
So now he does have the Gear Hulk mana. So here's Torrential Gear Hulk. Resolves, main phase. He wasn't sure what happened, but here is Vraska's Contempt. That's what he'll get off. Now at this point, does he even need to shoot down the Dreamstealer anymore? Does he care?
So Brennan's drawing additional cards now, and
Yeah, he's going to take the Siphoner.
yeah. We're past caring about discarding. Pretty good at blocking the Dreamstealer,
Yeah,
too.
he already got all his cards. They're just fair enough. Noah's going to swing in with his own Siphoner, go up to 2 energy. And Brennan, there we go. That's not one he can cast at all. Draws Chandra, Torch of Defiance.
Another double red spell.
And for a while, this looked good for Brennan. It's not over yet as he contempts away the Gear Hulk, but certainly is anyone's game now. Dreamstealer swings in again, gonna get its 4th, 5th card of the game? Goodness, a lot.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Noah has to try to win quick. If Brennan starts drawing mana, this is going to be done fast.
Yeah, Noah does get that extra card off of the Siphoner this turn.
2 cards then. Go back over to Noah. 16 and 20 life totals, though not really what's mattering here. Ether Hub, that's not a bad draw. It will reload the Siphoner rather quickly. So they swing in.
Yeah, if he's going to draw a land, that's the one he wanted to draw.
Yeah, we're in the spot where Noah's drawing 2 per turn, but then he has to discard every turn because of Brennan. So until he gets empty-handed, he's not actually making progress.
Here's an attack with the Dreamstealer.
There we go. And Brennan, there we go. Not just, it's a basic mount, an untapped red source. That's what he's looking for. Now he's got to start to figure out how he can stay alive long enough to cast all 5 of these cards.
Turns on his Harness Lightning immediately, so that's good.
All right, he'll do that. Siphoner's get down. They decided the most important thing is to stop the extra card draw.
And you saw with the Dreamstealer here, Noah had drawn 2 lands on the last turn. Discarded Mountain.
So Noah draws. It looks like he draws another Glint Sleeve Siphoner. All right, back to Brennan. And nothing left for the Dreamstealer to steal. Noah's empty-handed.
Mountain will be good.
Harness Lightning again. Does Brennan want to run back the last play?
I would.
Yeah. He can't draw Siphoners every turn.
Unless he has something really powerful that he can actually land here. Not sure. He might have a Scarab God in the holdings here.
Brennan does. He does have a Scarab God. So I think he's debating them between Scarab God and Harness Lightning. Goes for Lightning, and I can't say I disagree.
Yeah, there's no guarantee, and it's less likely if Strasler's drawing 2 cards that you'll be able to convert with that Scarab God. If a Contempt just shows up, then you'll kind of wish you had denied that card.
Speaking of someone who'd like to draw Scarab God, we go over to Noah Strasler. He swings for 1.
Yeah. Joy Dragon Skull Summit.
Ooh, close. Close.
Pretty close.
Now we go to Brennan. He gets to untap with his lands. He's survived, looks like, to the point. He survived long enough. Now here's the window for Scarab God. He'll make that one. And yeah, no, it's like, he needs one now. Okay, another Siphoner. Swings for 1. But Brennan's untapping with Scarab God. A lot of the creatures that have died this game actually were exiled. So there's no Gear Hulk, for example, that Brennan can get back. It looks like the art is a bunch of Glint Sleeve Siphoners. And I think that might be it.
That's not bad.
It's not
bad.
bad.
He has a lot of energy in reserve, and it comes back as a 4/4.
Draws another Dreamstealer. So his hand is Chandra, Rekindling Phoenix, Whirler Virtuoso, Dreamstealer, and Vraska's Contempt. You know, part of me just wants to play the Contempt here. Just kill off the Siphoner.
I think making your own 4/4 Siphoner is going to be more valuable.
Okay.
And you save the Contempt if Strasler was able to present his own Scarab God on the following turn.
That is true. Especially because Strasler's at 8 mana. He's almost at the point where his own Scarab God can be cast and activated in one swoop. Here's a swing for 6 from Brennan. Noah, and actually down to 6 on his own.
Right, and you're already attacking for so much. I like the aggressive line here.
I suppose once you just untap with Scarab God, that kind of sets up your plays.
Right.
It's just that good. Noah will go to 5. He needs an extra card.
Makes the Scarab God lethal.
Yep. Draws once. I believe it's Essence Scatter. Draws twice. Didn't get a look on that one. Cycles. That might be Vraska's Contempt.
Essence Scatter
Yeah.
plus
I
something.
believe it's a Vraska's Contempt.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
Here's a swing in for 2. Brennan down to 12th. Another energy for Noah.
But if Brennan just gets back Glintleaf Siphoner,
It's a 4-4. Menace.
yeah, I suppose with the Contempt, as long as you don't let the Scarab God trigger happen, this is going to be shy of lethal because of the 2 life gained off the Contempt.
Contempt will go ahead and give it a Scare God. So Brennan will use it in response to get back a... Yeah, it looks like a Glint Sleeve Siphoner. He'll get an energy. He almost got up to 10 energy. That was I had that bingo square.
He'll be using it pretty quick here, though.
Now maybe he just doesn't draw a card and then he attacks. I guess then, oh, dang. I was sure that's what he was going to do. Yeah, and this is already 1 removal spell. 1 removal spell. This is not good. Here's a swing both. He'll up to 8 energy for Brennan. Noah down to 2.
Brendan found that second red source, but it's going to be in the form of a Canyon Slough.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise Chandra would win right here.
Right.
Here's Whirler Virtuoso. Hey, boom. Boom, 10 energy.
I don't think
Did it.
that Brennan's at risk of losing this game,
Did he just
though.
not use the trigger? Oh, that'd be... How bad would it be if I hadn't already won in bingo? I'd be upset that he just didn't use the trigger on the Whirler Virtuoso.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty peeved about this.
I don't think he's going to need those Thopters.
I'm just saying that would have been quite the dagger.
So with your opponent at 1,
Yeah.
every Thopter's lethal.
Draws. He finally finds a Scarab God. It's not going to be enough, though, as he casts that. You see a thumbs up from Brennan.
Yeah, I got these 2 menace creatures and some flyers.
Yeah.
Opposite the elevators, and find your seats for your build portion of your event.
He got 3. He must have acknowledged that he had 10 energy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Listen, I don't want to grab another die, and I'm going to make a Thopter. So
Yeah.
you know and I know.
And I got this Glory Bringer. And that's going to do it. There's the handshake. The win goes to the team of Tan and Grace, Caleb Durward, and Brennan DeCandio. They improved to 11 and 2. That should set them up to be in our top 8 this afternoon.
Yeah. They're really impressive stuff. Tan and
Congratulations
Grace
to them, yeah.
Still trophy hunting. This might be his tournament.
He's done very well in our team events.
Yes. He's always on great teams.
All right, so that match is complete. We still have 2 more rounds to go. We're going to try to see what our top 8 looks like, what teams are in, who's still fighting for a spot. We'll be back in that in a minute. Also, if you haven't seen our SCG Con, you really do take a look at it. We have a lot of great stuff coming up in June. One of the things we announced is the return of an old classic from Star City Games. It's the Duel for the Duels. This is a 2-day legacy tournament with over 100 dual lands in the prize pool. You want to show up for this one, we will have that. And you can find out more, and you can register at starcitygames.com/SCGCon. So we'll be back for round number 14 in a second. We are going to go off the air to give you the best broadcast we can. We have a couple technical issues we want to fix, but we will be back. Join us when we're here then for round number 14. We'll see you then.